Hey guys, what's the Knife Fanatic here with Chef Knives to Go, and today we have the Harayuki SRS-15 210mm Gyuto. Harayuki knives are fairly new to the website as of now. They offer an exciting high-performance steel and also one of the sharpest out-of-the-box edges I've ever felt. So as usual, here's the specs and cutting performance. At the core, we have SRS-15 powdered steel, 63 plus Rockwell. Just some stats on the steel, a little conversation here. 1.5% carbon is extremely high carbon. This is going to increase the hardening abilities of the knife and the overall wear resistance. 13% chromium is the minimum amount considered to be stainless. Between 13 and 20% is usually what you see. This is going to ensure that you have a nice fine grain structure along with it being powdered to begin with. Molybdenum also increases grain structure, or improves grain structure and machinability and toughness. A lot of molybdenum in there, so it should be very tough being powdered in that much molybdenum. W stands for tungsten, 1.25%. It increases the hardening abilities of the knife, wear resistance, and how steep of an edge it'll take. I find tungsten one of my favorite ingredients in knife steel. Vanadium, 1.5%. Good bit of vanadium. This really increases wear resistance big time. Might make it a little bit harder to sharpen, but it's going to last a lot longer on your board. So, we have stainless clad construction along with stainless steel in the middle. Full stainless knife. However, at this high of a carbon content and these other alloys here, don't be surprised if you see the core steel maybe stain a tad. We're still going to assume that it's going to be stainless right now. I've yet to use it. Well, we're going to try it out in a minute. We have a Western handle here. Actually quite thin compared to some other Western handles, if you will. And they thin in the back here, which I do find in a pinch grip gives us a much nicer feel, closer to a thin wah handle. This is very, very polished. I believe this is Paca wood here. It does not say on our website as of now. I can tell you this is very moisture resistant, very tough, and great for commercial settings. Good for left and right hand users. Blade length, 213 millimeters, 3 millimeters over the advertised length. 43.8 millimeters tall. Actually not a very tall Gyuto. This is actually a little bit on the short side. If you can see there, we barely have knuckle clearance. Some people actually prefer this. Gives it a much more nimble feel in the hand. And also, most 210s or 210 millimeter Gyutos tend to be shorter dimensionally compared to their 240 counterparts. So it's not uncommon for these to be a little short. Very nice, nimble little blade. 2.8 millimeters coming out of the spine here, but this was actually measured directly out of the bolster here, where it's nice and thick, almost 3 millimeters. We'll back up a little bit. And there's a continual distal taper throughout the entire blade. Gets thinner and thinner as it goes. It gets very thin behind the edge and very thin behind the tip. You can see there. 170 grams. Not a particularly light knife, but I can attribute a good bit of that weight to having a metal bolster and a Western handle with rivets in it. And it also brings the balance point, which we'll just get to it now, but back slightly from most Japanese blades, but as you can see here, it's considered to be perfectly weighted right there in between the blade and the bolster. Overall length, 13.1 inches. We measured that in inches because most knife cases are sold that way, not millimeters. A little easier for you to determine where it's going to be. Balance point we did. And if you can see, 50-50 grind here. I had convex before, and a closer inspection, I believe this is actually a full flat ground knife. There may be some incidental convexing on it. You can see here where the light bends a little bit with the grind. Very, very minimal bubble to the grind, so to speak. And if you look down the side here, it is basically a flat ground knife. So if there is convexing to this, very, very little will be had, but we have seen flat ground knives do excellent against soft skinned vegetables like onions and such. So here we go. Get the tester out. Now this is a very, very sharp edge out of the box. I'm going to, rate this like a 16,000 grit type edge, maybe, almost half micron. I mean, this will really just shave any part of your arm with no trouble. There we go. Slid through like glass. That's partially because the edge is so well done. Slides through very easy. The tip is really thin on this knife, if you can see again. Very, very thin tip area. Very nice. Very comfy feeling because the edge is so sharp. Probably in thin grind Wow, very nice, very comfortable feeling there. I will say this knife head has a slightly different feel to it, having this handle being thinner on the butt like that, but I kind of like it. It's easy on your hand in a way. Let's go through the other half of the onion before we make too many comments. Well, so far, yeah, I can tell you the grind it's a laser grind on this knife. Very, very thin, very, very hard steel. That's like lightning, and this is no small onion. This is actually a nice size onion. Are you kidding me? Very good. Just minimal sticking there on the other side at the end. Lots of knives exhibit that, but partially due to the flat grind. But wow, I mean, it's so smooth the way it actually goes through. So the grind was done very nice on both sides. Even though it is a flat ground knife, you can see there I really haven't had any trouble with sticking through the high-speed chopping. You may get a little bit more sticking on a potato. I actually don't have one on the board at the moment for you guys today. And yes, that onion got to my eyes. If I sound like I'm tearing up, it's because I am. Let's get the next ingredient on our board. We're gonna do a little celery here. Work with the steering of the knife. And well, let's just show you the chopping profile. We'll do that actually once we get these done. Now this flat grind, I'm gonna say here on this celery, again, you know how we go around these round ingredients sometimes. It pushes down extremely straight, and this was also a trademark or hallmark, whatever you want to call that, of a Takeda knife that I use, which has more of a flat ground edge as well, or chisel grind. No, not chisel grind. Chisel grind's one side, but you know, flat ground on both sides as opposed to convex. These softer vegetables like onions and celery, I actually find it does a little bit better. This pushes down so easy and straight through here. Excellent feel. Man, this might be you know, your go-to for detail work on a Gyuto. I really like that feel. Now remember, I think on harder ingredients such as carrots and maybe a butternut squash, thin convex might do a little better. We'll see when we get there. So far I'm loving it. Let's see. You can see board contact with every part. This is just effortless. Let me tell you how easy and fun this is right now. This is the weight of the knife. Even though it's not a blade heavy knife to help with the chopping, it doesn't need it. It's so thin and sharp. Wow. No fatigue anywhere. That is it's a different experience a little bit. I can attribute that to the weight being perfectly balanced there, and maybe that thinner Western handle. We've never really played with a knife like this. It's a nice change of pace. And we'll show you some rocking as well. We do have a very nice long flat, gentle sweep. This probably shouldn't get very high. 3 inches, I would say, off the board. But it is a 210 and it is a flat profile knife, so that's to be expected, which will help, yet again, very quick rocking if you like to do that. Or do your little rock chop, as I like to call that. Very nice. Very nimble knife. That's just what I keep feeling. Nimble blade. Incredibly refined steel. Very fine grain structure. This stuff will take an incredibly refined edge, but it is a very hard steel. High alloy steel, so expect it to hold this edge for a very long time as well. Can tell you with the ingredients you saw, 1.5% carbon and that much tungsten alone would make a good steel, minus the vanadium and other goodies. So here we go, a little bell pepper. The knife falls through. It's so sharp right now. No ribs really to take care of here, so to speak, but yeah, we're good. We'll do a few different techniques here. We'll chop through the first, of course. Like it's nothing. Pinch grip. You can do push cuts. Pull cuts. Do draw cuts. Nice. And rocking. Rocking from a hammer grip. Wow. Nimble overall. I can tell you I'm not going to have to hold these at all, probably. Let's see. It might drag a little bit. Go for a pinch grip. Turned one of them around. There we go. Very, very good. Let's get that into our ingredient. And I got 1 carrot to take care of for our hard ingredient today, guys. I'm getting a little lazy here, man. This thing's so easy to use. I'm just, you know, a very, very, very nice blade. Wow. I'll be honest, I wasn't optimistic with the weight of the knife. I prefer, you know, the weight to be up front on a knife, but you know, and the handle felt like it was missing something. But after I'm using this, it's the fatigue on your wrist, I guess, because you're able to get just a better grip around it. Everything feels great everywhere where I'm holding it right now. It feels as if I haven't even cut yet. I really haven't cut very much. If you're a prep cook in a restaurant, I haven't even gotten warmed up yet. But let's see. Whoop. Very nice. Now, I can kind of feel the flat. It almost grabbed the carrot a little bit there to point at it. Let's see. What happens is in the steering, the harder ingredients tend to hold their shape and actually press against the blade as you're going down more. Whereas a convex grind continually pushes that ingredient apart. So as this does very well, as you can see, I mean, come on. And it's going through with no trouble. This is no little carrot, all right? Thin convex grinds push the harder ingredients apart a little bit better. So while this does incredibly well, I still believe this does better against softer ingredients and hard ones, but we're splitting hairs at this point because I'm gonna show you right now that this knife is just a dream to work with. Let's see. I mean, there you go, guys. So, no problem at all with harder ingredients. As you can see, no reactivity yet from onions or other ingredients. So that 13% chromium in there definitely gives it very good stainless properties. With a knife with this type of steel and alloys, to take this type of edge and still be fully stainless, excellent. Knife feels very tough construction overall. Very good fit and finish. Extremely smooth everywhere. Very highly polished. Very good blade finish. Very, very smooth on the blade. Yet again, one of the sharpest out of the box edges I've ever felt. The only other knife I think that competes with this out of the box are some of the Masakage knives and the Goko knives. Oh, excellent blade. Very fun to use. Hope you enjoyed watching the video, guys. Thank you very much. Stay tuned and stay sharp.